on, guys, and welcome to my first ever tier list video. I have been wanting to do these for a long time, and I think now is a good time to finally start doing these every Sunday here on the YouTube channel and see how it goes. I will say it might be a bit rough because, as you guys know, I stumble over my words a lot, so if I stutter a bit, I apologize. But with that said, today we are ranking every single mainline Zelda game, all 18 or 19, I think, counting Tears of the Kingdom. But yeah, we're gonna rank them all. Again, this is my list, so your list might be different, but this is based on my personal taste when it comes to Zelda. So without further ado, let's rank. So the original Legend of Zelda on the NES. I would say it is pretty much the most average of the Zelda games. It did, of course, set the formula for Zelda at that time, like the whole open world, the dungeon design, the weapons, the characters, all that good stuff. But when it comes to every other game on this list, I don't think it's better than the majority of them, honestly. And also, the game's pretty hard. Like, especially near the ending, when you reach, like, Death Mountain and you get, like, the Linos and whatnot, it becomes pretty hard. And the Ganon fight's also kind of hard from what I remember, so, honestly, if I were to rank The Legend of Zelda on the NES, I would probably put it at, like, a C tier. I think it's not bad, but compared to the other entries on this list, I think it kind of just doesn't do a whole lot, better than it. And again, it is pretty hard, which can be a huge, turn-off for people. But, with that said, yeah, I'm gonna rank Zelda 1 NES at a solid C tier. Oh boy, this next game, Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link. If you have been following me for any amount of time, you have heard me say on numerous streams and in numerous videos, I absolutely despise Zelda 2. It is one of my least favorite games of all time, my most hated Zelda game for sure. However, what I will say is that, I don't think it's, like, 100% a bad game, because it did introduce a lot of staples to the Zelda franchise, including the Magic Meter, Dark Link, the music spawn, the dungeons, the dungeons, basically gave birth to the most popular Smash Bros. Stage of all time, being Temple, of course, with that, iconic music. But, here's the thing. This is one of those guide games where if you don't use a guide, you're going to struggle, because this game gives you literally no guidance on where you gotta go. Also, the game is fucking hard. Harder than Zelda 1. It is hard to the point where I don't even want to play it anymore, honestly. Like, I played it on the Switch, right? On the Switch Online. I played the SP version that came out with it, where it's like they give you all the upgrades when you first start the game, and it was still hard! It was still hard even with that updated version! Like, what's the point? Like, this game is so insanely hard, I cannot ever play it again, I'm telling you. Oh my god. Anywho, sorry. Zelda 2, I'm sorry, it's a low, like, D-. It's not an F tier. But, also, I gotta change that. That shouldn't be F tier, that should be, like, haven't played, because there's one game I haven't played yet on this list. But yeah, Zelda 2, hate it, won't play it ever again, it is an easy D-. Sorry, Zelda 2 fans, I fucking hate this game. Alright, so I changed the bottom row to haven't played because, again, there is one game I have not played on this list yet. But, with that said, A Link to the Past, easily one of the most iconic Zelda games of all time. I know a lot of you will consider this your favorite game, and that is a fair argument, but for me, I would say it's not my favorite, but it's, like, easy top 10. Because I love this game. I love the dungeons, I love the characters, I love the graphics, it plays extremely well to this day, it has aged extremely well. Final boss is great, the Dark World is fun to explore, the music is great. I would say my only gripe against the game is, what's my big gripe? Probably the story in general is not as exciting as other Zelda stories, which we'll get to in a bit. But, other than that, I wouldn't put it in S tier because I don't love the game that much, but it is still like an easy A+. I still love this game. It's just, there are certain games in my S tier that do more for me than Link to the Past does, but this is still a fantastic game. If you have not played it, please go play it. It is one of the best. I would say it's honestly the best 2D Zelda in my opinion. Not the best Zelda game overall, but I would say Link to the Past is definitely the best 2D Zelda, so that's a solid A+ for me, I would say. So there you go. Alright, so on to Link's Awakening. Now, I did not play the original game or DX. I played the Switch remake, so I can't speak too much on, you know, how good the original is versus the remake. But as far as the remake goes, I like the remake a lot. I think it didn't do a whole lot for me story-wise and character-wise. The dungeons were just okay, in my opinion. The final boss was cool, though. I like that final boss. The island of Koholint was fun to explore. I love how, spoiler alert, in the end, the island just disappears. And it's like a dream, pretty much. That was kind of cool. But, overall, I would probably say it's like a B+, because, I don't know, it didn't hit me as much as other Zelda games in this list, and the characters weren't, that memorable aside from, like, you know, Marin, the owl, of course, the one shopkeeper dude, but, yeah, I think it's a solid B or B+. Again, I still love the game, but it didn't do a whole lot for me, when it comes to dungeons, characters, and general story, but it's still a great game. Again, I have not played the original, so I might play the original in the future and see how that goes for me, but I did like the remake. So, yeah, Link's Awakening, solid B+. Alright, this might be controversial, I'll just say this right now. Ocarina of Time is one of the best Zelda games of all time. It's the most iconic Zelda game of all time, in my opinion. However, in terms of my list, I don't think it makes my top 5. I'm gonna be honest. I still love the game to death, but if I were to rank this in terms of like a top 10, it'd be like 6 or 7, honestly. And I don't know why. I don't hate the game at all. There's very little I dislike about it. I don't know. I think my top 5 do more for me personally when it comes to what I look for in a Zelda game. But, yeah, Ocarina of Time is fantastic. The dungeons are iconic. Forest Temple's goated. The final boss fight's iconic, where you fight Ganondorf, then you fight the Beast Ganon. Love that final boss fight. The music is great. The characters are great, like the sages. I love the locations like Hickory Forest and Zora's Domain and Hyrule Castle. Oh my god. See, there's so much I love about Ocarina of Time, but it's not in my top 5. I will say that much. But what I will say is that it does deserve the first S tier of this list. It's okay. I played the remake. I should say that right now. I played the remake, not the original. But based on the remake, it's a solid S tier. Now, the original, maybe not. It might be an A, but I got it based off of the version that I played, which was the 3DS remake, so, yeah, Ocarina of Time, solid S. It is an iconic game. It is fantastic, but not in my top 5, so you will see my top 5, hopefully, here in a bit, so, stay tuned. But Ocarina of Time, S tier, easily. So if you thought Ocarina of Time not being in my top 5 was controversial, oh man, Majora's Mask. This might piss a lot of people off. It's still an A tier. I'm gonna put it there right now, but I would say it's like an A- for me, and here's why. I love the story. I love the fact that the moon's gonna crash into the world in about 3 days. You gotta stop it. That's cool. However, for some reason, the game feels a lot shorter than it should be, because there's only, like, what, 4 dungeons, and speaking of that, the dungeons aren't really that memorable for me. Stone Tower is memorable, however, that dungeon is way too long. Like, I had to rush through that entire dungeon just to not, be out of time for the moon crashing down. So, I think that dungeon deserves, like, maybe, like, 20 minutes less time used on it. But it's still a great dungeon. I still love it to death. And the boss fight's cool with, like, the giant worms, and you have to be Giant Link and just smash them over the place. That's fun. The boss fights are good. I would say Gyorg is probably very frustrating, at least in the original version. So, yeah, again, I still have Majora's Mask as compared to, like, Ocarina of Time. I think it falls a bit short in terms of, like, length, and, honestly, okay. I love the characters in the side quests, but I think they're not really used that much in the story, like the main story. I love the side quests for sure, but when it comes to being used in the main story, I think that falls a bit short for me too. Like Cafe, what else? What's his name? Not the postman, but the other dude. I forgot. But yeah, there's a bunch of side quests. Those are cool, but like, I want like main story characters I can connect with, and Majora's Mask doesn't really give me a whole lot of that. And yeah, I will say the final boss is fantastic. I love fighting Majora, like all 3 phases. The inside of the moon, oh man, like it's like the giant grassland. You gotta like you find the kids with the masks on. That's cute and all. I love that. But yeah, I still love Majora's Mask, but in terms of like other games, it's probably an A-. I don't love it as much as the general audience does. I would still play it again anytime, but yeah, I'm sorry, Majora fans. I know y'all rank it at like an S or S+, but for me, it's an A-. So hope y'all okay with that. That is my final answer. Locking it in, Majora's Mask, A-. Now, these 2 games are kind of interesting. We have Oracle of Ages and Seasons. I've only played them, I think, twice in my lifetime, because I played the first one to then advance the story in the second one, and then I had to do it the reverse way to get like all the endings, like the final Ganondorf fight. But yeah, this goes back to my main issue about Zelda 2, where knowing where to go is not easy, and it does feel kind of guide gamey, I will say. However, I will say that the colors are fun to look at, like especially Seasons with the different seasons going on, obviously. I would probably rank both at like a C. I would say better than Zelda 1, for sure. And as far as which one I prefer, I would say, is that Ages? I would say Seasons. Just based on the fact that there's like actual, you know, seasonal cycles that go on. You have to like use the rod to change the season every time. That's cool. But I love Ages too. I think Ages is more combat-based, or puzzle-based, right? And then Seasons is more combat-based or something? Or something like that, but yeah, I don't remember a whole lot about these games overall in terms of like bosses and whatnot, but from what I can remember, they're definitely a C or C+, and I hope for remakes. That'd be great. I would definitely love remakes where like it improves upon like you know, knowing where to go and the graphics and whatnot. But yeah, I'm kind of blanking on more than that, but I would say right now, based on what I can remember about the game, the Oracle games are definitely a C tier, and yeah, there you go. So now we've reached the game that I haven't played, which I was talking about earlier, Four Swords, and here's why. Don't know if you heard, but Four Swords is multiplayer only. So if you don't have a Game Boy Advance, or a 3DS if you have it on the 3DS eShop when that was out, and you don't have friends, then you can't play. This game is literally unplayable. You can't play it at all. It requires at least 2 or more players to actually get through the game. So there is no way I can ever play this game until like either a remake comes out or I find some way to play it. But for right now, I have no way to play this game, so I can't know how it is. So we're gonna put that in a solid haven't played. I do know, like, how it works, but as far as, like, actually playing it, I can't, because I don't have friends to play with. I have no Game Boy Advance. I don't have it on the 3DS eShop either, so I can't play this game at all. And that kind of sucks, because the idea sounds great, but they made it multiplayer only, so thanks, Nintendo. Yeah, Four Swords, I got nothing to say about it. Oh boy, The Wind Waker, one of the best Zelda games of all time. I will say that right now. I freaking adore this game. From sailing on the seas to the boss fights to the final Ganondorf. Fucking love that fight. Toon Link's, oh my god, the art style is gorgeous, man. Like, especially in HD, it looks so good. Like, I would say it is the most beautiful Zelda game I've ever played in my entire life. It is just brimming with color and personality and charm and just, oh, it's so good. I will say the dungeons are not that memorable for me, and I think aren't there 2 dungeons that require like an escort mission, which I'm not really a huge fan of. Oh, also the other big thing, the quest for the Triforce. I hate that. Oh my god, I think that thing is probably one of the most despised things about Wind Waker is the whole Triforce quest, where you have to, like, search for the Triforce pieces. Hate that. But, again, this game is phenomenal. The story is phenomenal. The graphics again are phenomenal. Love that final Ganondorf fight once again. So, you know what? Wind Waker, easy, easy, easy S, like, maybe not S+ for those, few things that kind of dog it down for me. But, easily a solid S for me. I love this game. Wind Waker is one of the best 3D Zeldas, one of the best Zeldas of all time, for sure. Yeah, Wind Waker is great, so easy S for me. Easy, easy, easy S. So, while I didn't play Four Swords on the Game Boy for obvious reasons, I did play Four Swords Adventures, and I love this game a lot. However, it's not really, like, among the greats like Link to the Past and Wind Waker, so, but yeah, like, I played it by myself. I didn't have friends to play with because I didn't have, like, you know, people I hung out with. So I played a single player, but I still enjoyed it. It was still a lot of fun. I do agree it's probably more fun if you do play with people and you have, like, friends over and you all have, like, game controllers. You can play it together. That's obviously a lot more fun. But even single player for me was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. So I would probably say it's, maybe, like, a B+. Because there is one part of it that I didn't really like that much, which is, the Maiden Quest, I think, in Maiden Village. I hated that one. That one can go die in a fire. But yeah, like, the general idea of multiplayer Zelda was great. I wish I could play it in multiplayer back in the day, but, even single player, I enjoyed it. So, I would say this game, Four Swords Adventures, solid B+. I will say right now, the Minish Cap is easily the most underrated Zelda game of all time. It is if Link to the Past did not exist, well, no, wait, Link to the Past is, console, I'm an idiot. But, in terms of handheld Zeldas, this is, like, the best one, I think. Well, no, maybe not, because Link Between Worlds exists, but, yeah, Minish Cap is so underrated. I love this game so much. The graphics are great for a Game Boy Advance title, easily. I love, what's his name? Ezio, the bird hat guy. Love him. Vaati's a lot of fun to take on. He's the final boss of the game. I love fighting him. The bosses, like the giant, Choo-Choo. Loved fighting that. The dungeons are not the best for sure, but they are a lot of fun. I will say that. Love the music. Yeah, there's not a whole lot that I really dislike about Minish Cap. I would say if I had to pick one or two things, again, the dungeons are not that memorable for me. They are fun to take on, but they're not really, like, ones that stick with you once you finish the game. Oh, also, the other thing. Vaati is fun to take on, but I think there's a timer on that fight, and if you don't beat him in that timer, then you start the whole fight over again, right? So, that's not something I really appreciate, because, like, I want to enjoy my final boss fights, like, and not worry about a timer or anything. I mean, there's a reason why I think there's a timer, but in general, I don't like that idea, really. Like, I want to enjoy my boss fights to the fullest extent without there, like, needing to be a limit on it, but, yeah, Minish Cap for me is a solid A-. Is it better than Majora, though? Probably not, but it's probably an A- for me. It's definitely better than these two in B tier, but, yeah, not quite there for Majora or Link to the Past for me, but, Minish Cap is still underrated. Please go play. It's a fantastic handheld Zelda, so, yeah, A- for the Minish Cap, easily. Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the most divisive game in the entire Zelda franchise, Twilight Princess. Now, if you're a close friend of mine in real life, or if you were around when I first started doing content creation, then you might know this already, but I fucking love this game. And here's the thing, I can understand why people don't like it. The world being ugly, I kind of agree with that. The intro is way too long before you, like, get to the actual action, or, yeah, actual action, where it's, like, you go to Hyrule Field, that takes way too long. The one thing I don't agree with is Zant's character being ruined by the end. People say that because Ganondorf is the true final boss that it ruins Zant's character. I don't agree with that, because here's the thing. Zant would not have his power without Ganondorf in the first place. Because remember, in that cutscene where Zant's, like, at the palace, like, throwing a hissy fit about not being crowned the King of Twilight, Ganondorf's spirit comes in and gives him his power. So without that power, Zant would be nothing. So I don't think Ganondorf ruined Zant at all. I think Zant was fine, and the reveal of him being a psychopath was fine for me as well. I think that fits his character more than just being like a very obscure, dark villain, I guess. Yeah, but the dungeons, oh, the dungeons are so good. The dungeons are among the best in the entire Zelda franchise, in my opinion. City in the Sky, Snow Peak Ruins, even the Goron Mines to an extent. Oh my god, Arbiter's Grounds, love that dungeon. And the boss fight, oh my god, the boss fight with, what's his name? The giant skull, dinosaur-looking guy, I forgot his name, but the fight with the spinner. I love that fight so much. Oh my god. I love the music, I love the final boss fight, I love the Twilight Realm, oh my god. Midna is the best companion character of all time. You will never convince me otherwise. I love Midna. She is my waifu. I don't care what any of you say. Twilight Princess, S+ tier. Argue all you want. I love this game. Enough said. Goodbye. Next. Speaking of divisive, we have Phantom Hourglass on the DS. Now, unlike Twilight Princess, where I think where people are more positive on it than negative, I think Phantom Hourglass is a lot more negative than positive, for sure, for a lot of reasons. One, the touch controls. I personally do not like them. I do not like having to move Link with the touch controls. It's so clunky. It doesn't feel right. Not using, and there's a D-pad right there. Like, I know it's a 3D game, but, like, I prefer the D-pad. I hate moving Link with the touchscreen. I just do. Oh my god. What is that one dungeon called? The Temple of the Ocean King? Oh my god. The fact that you have to keep going back there every single time and it gets harder and harder, I don't like that. It sucks. The final boss is not memorable at all to me. Like, what is that guy's name even? The final boss of Phantom Hourglass. I don't remember. Yeah, says enough. I can't remember his name. But, you do sail in the sea like Wind Waker, but it's not really great. I will say Linebeck is a good character, but this game is just, there's a lot that's bad about it, in my opinion, based on what I played. So Phantom Hourglass is better than Zelda 2. However, better than these games? No, it's going in like a D tier. So like right there. Actually, you know what? No. There's a couple good things about it. So you know what? I put it in like a C-. I don't think it's that bad where it's D tier, but it's not a great game. It's like, I think it just barely cracks the C tier for me because it just, the controls are bad, the dungeons are bad, the story's bad. So yeah, not quite D tier, but solid C-. This game is not that great, so there you go. Phantom Hourglass. So now we have the other DS Zelda game being Spirit Tracks. This one is so much better than Phantom Hourglass by a landslide. I love the whole moving across the world via the trains. That's kind of cool. You do go back to a dungeon similar to the Temple of the Ocean King from Phantom Hourglass, but it's a lot less annoying in my opinion. The final boss is pretty good too. What's his name? Malladus? I like that final boss. But yeah, is it... I don't memorize a lot of the characters overall. I know I love Link, I love Zelda, I love Malladus, of course. I love, what's the one guy from the conductor guy before Link takes over? I don't remember, but you know what I'm talking about. But, as far as ranking, I think it's better than C tier. But is it better than these games? I would probably say not by a whole lot. So I would say probably a B- is a good ranking for Spirit Tracks. Again, not a bad game. It's a good game. It's better than Phantom Hourglass by like every single by a landslide, obviously. But in terms of the other ones on this list, like the ones in A and S, definitely not up there. It's still a good game. I enjoyed it, but it doesn't improve that much from Phantom Hourglass. Like the touch controls are still there. I hate those. So, yeah, Spirit Tracks is a solid B-, I think, and that is my final answer. So I think back when this game first came out on the Wii, being Skyward Sword, of course, it was pretty divisive. I think people did not enjoy it that much. However, I think nowadays, people really love this game. And guess what? Including yours truly. I love Skyward Sword so much. I love the music. The story is easily the best story in the entire Zelda franchise. I love the final boss, which is Demise, of course. And he's pretty hard, too, when you find him the first time. So that was a pretty fun challenge. This game has the single best dungeon in the entire Zelda franchise, being Ancient Cistern. I fucking love that dungeon. Fi is a great companion character, but not better than Midna, obviously. Well, at least in my opinion. Midna's a lot better than Fi. I love Skyloft. I love the sky. I love the different locations. I would say my gripes with this game are, I did not play the remake that came out. I played the original version on Wii. The controls are good. I didn't have an issue with them, but there were times where I would have preferred a standard controller. Like, there are certain parts in dungeons where I would prefer to having, like, a, you know, like a Pro Controller, for example, instead of a Wii Remote that required motion controls. Also, I hate the Imprisoned. We all do. The Imprisoned sucks. He is such a bad boss fight. And you fight him 3 times, I think, right? Like, 3 or 4 times. He sucks. I don't like him. The boss fights in general, though, like Galactos, Girahim, Tantalus, they're all pretty good boss fights, I will say that. As far as ranking, I think it's better than Wind Waker overall, but not better than Twilight Princess for me, so it's probably like a solid S, but yeah, it's just better than Wind Waker, but not quite as good as Twilight Princess for me, so Skyward Sword, easy S tier, love this game. It's divisive, but I am one of those that loves it, so there you go. You are welcome, Skyward Sword fans. So, A Link Between Worlds. I don't remember a whole lot about this game. It's basically like a sequel to Link to the Past, right? Like, it uses the same world and same formula, besides the wall merging, of course. Like, there's a dark world and whatnot. I played it through, like, I think twice so far, and I know people kind of argue that this game is better than Link to the Past. I don't know if I agree with that. I think there are things it does better than Link to the Past, but in terms of, like, in terms of an overall experience, I would probably say it's just below Link to the Past, but it's still a solid A tier. The dungeons are all fun. The final boss is cool. The wall merging, I love the wall merging. Obviously, that's such a great feature. I also love how, the way Ravio works, right? Where you get to, like, rent your items and then, buy them all eventually. That's a cool idea. And getting to tackle any dungeon in any order, like, Breath of the Wild, is kind of cool as well. So I would say it's close. Is it better than Majora's Mask, though? I would say it falls just short of Majora's Mask for me, but it's still a solid A tier for me. So yeah, I think Link to the Past is better, but again, there are some things that Between Worlds does better than Link to the Past, in my opinion. But in terms of, like, an overall experience, I think Link to the Past is definitely the better game. So Link Between Worlds, A tier, still a great 3DS game, love that game, but not quite better than Link to the Past. But that is just my opinion. So there you go. I hate Triforce Heroes. I don't like this game at all. It is such a bad game, and it's supposed to be based on Four Swords and Fortress Adventures, but it's worse because it's 3 players instead of 4, and unlike Adventures where you can play a single player and still enjoy it, this game, if you play single player and not with 2 other people, it's fucking miserable. I had such a bad time playing this game with just myself and not 2 other friends. It's bad. And honestly, even with people, it's still not a great game. I don't know, man. Like, I wish I had friends to play with so I could, like, maybe have a better time with the game, but yeah, do not play this game single player. You will hate it. It is not great. The boss fight, I will say the final boss fight is not bad. There are some good parts about it, but it's not memorable in my opinion. Yeah, the game functions just so weirdly. The locations are kind of cool, I guess, but this game does really nothing for me, so it's a D tier. It's not as bad as Zelda 2. Obviously, that's my least favorite Zelda game, but Triforce Heroes is it's still a bad game, you guys. At least in single player. I can't speak to like multiplayer if you have 2 friends to play with, but in terms of single player, this game is bad. I'm sorry, I can't defend it. If you like this game, cool, but I don't. This game is trash. I don't want to play it again. Triforce Heroes is a D tier. It's trash. I'm pretty sure you guys can already guess where these last 2 games will end up, but first we got Breath of the Wild. When I first played this game, I was amazed, because it was the first game I played on the Switch when I first got my Switch back in 2017, and when I stepped out from the Shrine of Resurrection and like saw the world before me, I was stunned. Like, what this game does is incredible. It not only revolutionized Zelda, but the entire open world genre. Like, the amount of freedom that this game gives you in terms of, like, you know, doing what you want, going where you want to go, just no limitations. It's crazy. Like, yeah, once you get off the Great Plateau, like, the game is pretty much your story at that point. You go wherever you want to go, do what you want to do, discover what you can, whatever's out there. It is such an amazing and magical experience, playing the game for the first time. Looking back, though, I will say there are things that fall short for me. The dungeons are definitely not the best part of the game. The Divine Beasts are kind of mid, because they all look the same inside. They're all pretty samey. The boss fights are not that great. The story is there, but the problem is the majority of the story is based around flashbacks and not so much based on, like, the current events that are happening. So that could have been tweaked a bit. The final boss against Ganon is fun for the first phase, but the second phase is kind of a letdown, because you're fighting this big giant, like, dark beast thing, and all you do is just hit him with light arrows, and he barely moves at all, and he has 1 attack, and it's so easily dodgeable. Like, that's kind of a letdown for me, but again, those are such minor gripes when it comes to, like, what this game has to offer on a whole. It is still just a legendary game. It revolutionized open world travel. It is still a great game to go back to. So this game is my easy S+. It is fantastic. Again, there are things this game could improve upon in terms of story and dungeons and bosses and whatnot, but when it comes to just how you play this game in terms of, like, how you travel and explore the world and, like, what there is to discover out there, this game is pretty much unmatched, except for one game, which we will now get to. Ever since I finished Breath of the Wild, I knew right away it was now my new favorite Zelda game of all time, and it has held that record for 6 years. Until a certain game this year came out and did even more to amaze me, and that game is Tears of the Kingdom. This game feels unreal. It really does. The fact that this game runs as well as it does on the original Switch hardware, it's not perfect, obviously, there are frame dips here and there, but, like, overall tech analysis, this game should not run as well as it does. It runs so well overall. And this game, or the world, is like 3 layers this time. We got the sky, the surface, and now the depths. And I guess caves, you include caves as like a 4th layer, but yeah, this game is massive. Like, they literally spent 6 years making a more stunning game than Breath of the Wild, and that's great. Like, it wows me how big this game is on this hardware, and it runs as well as it does. The story is a lot better. It's more cohesive in my opinion. The dungeons are all great. They're not the best dungeons in the entire series, I will agree with that, but they are a lot better than the Divine Beast from Breath of the Wild. Oh man. Guys, that final boss, let me tell you, it is one of the most cinematic, epic, engaging, and just downright amazing final bosses I've ever experienced in any video game. When you fight Ganondorf the first time, to Demon King Ganondorf, to the fucking Dragon Ganondorf, and the music, oh my god, and that finale when you catch Zelda, oh, it's all great stuff. Oh my god, that made me emotional. It is my best playthrough of all time until something else tops it in like 10 years, I don't know. But Tears of the Kingdom is a phenomenal game. It's got its critics, obviously. People don't like the story overall. People, there are people who still find things to hate about the game. But in terms of me, there is very few I generally don't like about the game. So, Tears of the Kingdom is the easiest S++++ in this list. It's my favorite Zelda game of all time. One of my favorite games of all time, period. I fucking adore this game, and I cannot wait to see how they improve it. I mean, if there is a third game in this, like, exact world, how the hell are they gonna top it? Like, Nintendo, I'm challenging you. If you make a better game than Tears of the Kingdom in terms of world design and just whatever else, I will be amazed. I challenge you, but for right now, Tears of the Kingdom is my favorite Zelda game of all time. Easy S+, and that is all I gotta say. So there you go. That is my tier list of every mainline Zelda game. So hope you guys enjoyed watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, and let me know in the comments what you guys think are your favorite Zelda games. Do you prefer Ocarina of Time? Do you prefer Wind Waker? Do you think Tears of the Kingdom is a worse game than I put it here? Let me know, and I will see how many people agree with me here. So with that said, I will see you guys for the next tier list, and until then, bye guys. Hey, hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see another awesome video, as well as one that you might have missed from this week, click the 2 videos on your left. And make sure you subscribe and ring the bell to get notified of future videos. With that said, I'll see you all in the next amazing video.